We got him in the bag, guys. Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. It's gonna be the Endgame Chain Lightning build guide. And this time, you've seen it, we've cleared all of the Uber bosses except for Echo of Lilith. We haven't tried that one yet. And we're clearing tier 6 Infernal hordes quite easily. It's not a top tier build yet, but we haven't masterworked everything up to the nitty bitty details. And it's already doing very good. I'm very happy with this build. It's clearing Infernal hordes like cake and it's really fun to play. It looks amazing as well. So let's get right into it. Itemization. A lot of things changed from last build. Last build I spec'd into vulnerable damage. This time I spec'd into critical strike damage. So we're kind of combining the crazy lightning spear aspect here with the critical strike damage. So we're getting a lot of crit chance as well. First of all, the thing you might notice is that I now have an offhand, even though I said last video attack speed doesn't matter. It is simply because this one has actually critical strike chance, and we really want any critical strike chance we can get. You can still equip a staff. It is still possible. I would say drop conceded, so you don't have that aspect anymore, and get the lightning rod up in your staff, and then get your splintering energy to your amulet and your storm spell to your gloves. So that's the way I would do it with a staff. I currently just don't have a great staff. And I really like the 10% critical strike chance from the focus that you get. It is still a bit, you know, I think both ways work pretty well. So that's the first one. And the second one that you've noticed is actually the splintering energy. This is also the main reason why we're speccing into critical strike damage bonus that much. We've got quite a bit of critical strike damage bonus. So that is also quite important. I think we're at 1200 right now, 1200% and around 60% critical strike chance. And that is without even min-maxing all of the masterworking. I mean, some of my gear hit lucky hit chance and that kind of stuff. So there's still a lot of things we can add in this. Then another big change is actually the way we generate mana has been changed. We used to have another aspect on the recharging. So every bounce actually recharged. But now that we don't have the aspect on our glove, we actually changed this out. So what we're doing right now is doing with Starlight, which actually gives you resources for every 20% of your life that heals. And you might think, well, we're not constantly generating life, so this is kind of shit. Are we going to get life per second on our gear now? No, there's no reason for that. We do need two different tempers, so warmth on our amulet and our chest piece. You can also put it on your helmet, but you just want one armor temper as well, and it takes a defensive one. So you need to choose one of the three to have the warmth. So basically what warmth does is very important, is it basically heals us for enemies that are nearby that are burning. So we apply burning to everyone because we have the enchantment of the firebolt. So any damage we do is burning enemies. And damage against bosses is even tripled. So we have 24% or even quadrupled, 24% against bosses. So 24% of our life per second. As you can see with our Starlight, that is 20% of our life every second. So we get even more than this. So it's 37 primary resource every second. That's 37 mana per second. It's crazy. So this is only if we're hitting one boss. Remember, the Fell Council is 3 bosses. So you'll be getting even more mana per second. And if you're clearing a lot of enemies, especially if you have a few elite around you, this is even more mana per second. So this can really ramp up to some crazy numbers just from one aspect. So that's very good, and it's a lot better than what we used to have with the recharging. So that's definitely the big one on there. But you do want some tempers on your chest piece and your amulet. I didn't even get +2 here, and it's still working very great. So really shout out to the person that I'll put the comment on there. Really shout out to you, because you really improved the build. Huge shout out, and I really like this kind of things. The last video did amazing, so thank you guys. I'll thank you guys more in the outro. So then a big other thing that I am trying out right now, and it's working quite well, is actually the maximum resource. But I wouldn't do this if you don't have a max roll or a GA. So I have a GA on my amulet, so if you get a lot of it. But 21 max resource is actually quite nice. And you can also get it on your helmet, but the other stats on your helmet are also quite important. So it's a bit of a hit or miss on your helmet. But it is very important that you get one of these, because your maximum mana also will improve by your actual conduit. So the 31% maximum will also is a multiplicative bonus. So you will get 30% more out of this GA than you would normally would. So you get 6 more mana from this just for that one resource. So getting it on your amulet or helmet can really improve your mana, and you can just basically get one more chain lightning out, because I think now with the resource portion we can get 200 mana. So with 200 mana we can really cast a lot of different chain lightnings. I think we can juggle somewhere around 7 if we're doing like Infernal hordes, but you'll see that in the gameplay as well. Sometimes it shoot up to 7, sometimes I take a little bit too much, I double cast and it goes to 9, everything shuts down. So you don't want that. So really, I would say currently with the build I have, I would stay at 5. It's very comfortable. My mana will be up most of the time, just like 90%. And I'm just clearing enemies and it's exploding a lot as well. And that's already difficult enough to keep up, especially with like the 60% double cast that I have currently. So that's really where I want to go. Then the final thing I want to say about the items is that here I have some with intelligence, like gems in there. And also some of my aspects or some of the stats on there. Some have intelligence, some have max life. Really, you need to get at least above 20k health, especially when we do a little bit more endgame content. This build kind of struggles with like getting insta-killed. Regeneration is no problem. Remember, we have warmth. We're regenerating 25% every second. So if we're getting low with a potion, you'll be up and again within a second. It's no problem. But the real problem is if you get insta-killed. So we don't want that. We don't have fire shield anymore, but to be honest, getting insta-killed by random stuff, fire shield doesn't really protect you from that unless you're really good at reacting. I'm not that good, and I kind of like the balls to the walls playstyle of just doing unstable currents and our attack speed, and not our attack speed, but we can juggle a little bit more chain lightning, so unstable current is actually worth it, especially now that we have splintering energy. But first I'm gonna get a little bit of temper tips before I go into the skills fully. So especially what I'm saying, warmth on your amulet or your chest piece, you can put it on your helmet as well, but you just want one of the defensive stats and you want to get that max armor as well. So be careful that you do have the max armor and don't just go fully into tempering the warmth. Critical strike damage on anything that can get critical strike damage. And of course for your weapons you want the extra chance to chain lightning to cast twice. And for your ring, I bricked this one. I'm very unhappy about this. I paid a lot of money online for this and then I just got it bricked. So what you want, you can get unstable cooldown, current reduction, and also you can get something with resource gain that's also still valid on this one. So a 5% chance to get your resources back. We're not speccing into lucky hit chance that much anymore, but it's still, I think, 30% chance for chain lightning, so that's fine. So that's mainly it for the items and tempering. And now we're gonna go into the skills. Not much has changed, but there are a few critical changes. So the first one, that's the big one, of course, is warmth. Now we're speccing fully into warmth, and we took points out of our static discharge and also our fiery surge. Fiery surge didn't give that much mana regeneration, and it's a lot better to just get warmth. So that's a big one. We're going balls to the walls with unstable currents. We did that instead of fire shield. So if you're noticing, I'm dying a lot where it could be prevented by just a nice fire shield. Just get fire shield. Don't do unstable currents. You'll get a little bit less lightning spears, a little bit less damage. Yes, sure, but you'll survive to do the damage. So that's more important. So be sure to focus on that. We did get electrocution here for a little bit of survivability. And one other change that I'm trying out right now, it's a little bit with mana. I'm not struggling that much with mana anymore. I can keep up like 5 of the great chain lightnings. So I'm trying with greater chain lightning for 30% multiplicative damage increase. This is gonna change, like the bounces happen within the first hit. So this is gonna easily happen, and then you get a 30% X increase. So that's quite a lot, but we do get a lot less crackling energy. We do get quite a few just from this passive alone, but I would say it is still nice just to get the destructive one if you're still struggling with any mana. So only do this if you're really thinking like, okay, mana is settled, I have some masterwork mana per second, I have the starlight, everything's fine, then do the greater chain lightning. So that's always something you can opt into. Then we're gonna go to Paragon. A few notable changes. I will add the full Paragon board, of course, in my build guide. I will add this Paragon board this time, so there's no confusing about going to the left or going to the right. It's almost the same thing though as the mid-game one. Not much has changed. I do want to say that I maxed out Destruction, so we get almost a 200% critical hit damage bonus. This is very good for your splintering energy, which is going for your lightning, Spear of Lightning, that's it. And also, I took some health notes, which might seem a bit random, but really getting their maximum life. I think just one of these is around, if I take one off, yeah, this is around 1,000 health just from just this maximum life node. It matches with all of the others' maximum life. So it's really important that you get one of these, because it can really, or not 1,000 health, sorry, it's like 500 health. But still, 500 health is quite a lot, especially if you have some good maximum health GAs in there. The 2% maximum life is actually quite a bit of health. So 500 health just from one Paragon node is pretty good. It's going to help with a lot of survivability. And another thing I want to say, this one you get at the end, but don't skip out on this. Frigid Fate. You will get the 60% damage bonus, because any non-physical damage bonus you get counts towards the cold damage. So you easily get 60% multiplicative damage bonus. It is all the way at the end, so you maybe can get it earlier if you want, but you will have to change your Paragon board, and I don't want to get into that. So that's it for the Paragon board. Enchantments, there's no changes. We're still doing Firebolt and still doing Ice Blades to get the cooldown reduction for your Lightning Spear and your Unstable Crunch, and also your other skills with a cooldown. So that's about it. Those are most of the changes from the mid-game build. I think for the rest of it, it's just the usual. I have the full build guide in the planner. I really want to thank you guys for the amazing support. I think before the season started, we were at like 680 subscribers. We're already well over 800. The support has been amazing. My mid-game video did the best out of all of my videos before. So it's crazy to see how much support you guys are giving. And I really want to return that by just making these videos. I streamed a lot last night, but I will be streaming again tomorrow. Sunday tomorrow, we will stream again, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you guys for watching. This is some boss gameplay in the background. Enjoy. Ciao.